every year, he came to that cave. Suddenly, he was surrounded by light. When he looked up, he saw the Archangel Gabriel standing before him. He was speechless. "Read," said the angel. "I don't know how," was the reply. Gabriel repeated his command 3 times, and each time the reply was the same. And then Gabriel taught him.
Dishonesty isn't always limited to what people tell you, but includes what they choose not to tell you. The Quran never names the spirit who tells the illiterate Muhammad to read, so the movie makers picked this up out of a hadith account, namely the historians Bukhari, Tabari, Imam Muslim, and Ishaq. All 4 testify about an angel named Gabriel, but they also agree on something that is censored from the movie. Gabriel grinds the crap out of Muhammad. I kid you not. He says, "Read," 3 times. Muhammad says, "I don't know how to read." And each time, Gabriel takes him and presses him so hard that he feels on the verge of death. Well, gee, who would have thought that a violent religion would start out with an act of violence?
"Read in the name of your Lord the Creator. He created man from a clot of blood. Read. Your Lord is the most bounteous who taught the use of the pen. He has taught man what he did not know." And then Gabriel vanished. Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, shook with fear and confusion. He stumbled out of the cave and ran for home. He doubted what he had seen, but on his way down the mountain, Gabriel appeared again and said, "Muhammad, you are the messenger of God, and I am Gabriel." He tried to turn away, but no matter where he looked, Gabriel was there, repeating his message. "Muhammad, you are the messenger of God, and I am Gabriel." Once the angel was gone, Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, struggled for home. When he finally arrived, he was shivering. He asked Khadija to cover him. He told her everything he had seen and heard. He told her he feared for his sanity or that he had become possessed. But Khadija assured him that God would not allow an evil spirit to overtake a man like him, who had always told the truth and cared for the poor and needy. Soon after, Khadija went to her cousin, a religious scholar, and told him what had happened. "Your husband?"
Okay, hold on. The movie doesn't depict Gabriel as an evil spirit and calls Muhammad an honest man, yet faithfully retells Muhammad's horrified concerns that he's been demon-possessed. Funny thing though, the Virgin Mary encountered Gabriel and she didn't have this problem. The movie probably would have sounded more honest if they kept the spiritual beating in. But then again, it probably would have pushed away us Westerners to see God's most famous messenger angel crushing the life out of his last and most important prophet.
"My husband is a prophet of God. The people will accuse him of lying and many other evils. Oh, and he will be cast out."
Despite her cousin's warning,
I would
Khadija
love
believed
to know
all
where
her
this
husband
scholar
had
was
told her,
reading from, which
she
predicted that there
never
would come a
hesitated in
prophet like
becoming
Muhammad who would be
Islam's
cast
first
out for
believer.
lying. I think it's more likely that
And
this
soon,
story was invented
others
after the
followed.
fact.
I keep hearing rumors about Muhammad's secret meetings. Please, Abu Jahal. But he's teaching something. I don't know what it is yet, but his adopted son Zayd has joined him, and so has his cousin Ali.
So what? The rest are beggars and slaves.
But he must be punished. For what? For teaching something different.
Look, if his followers were men of power, if his teachings were dangerous, I'd fall on him like an ocean. But this is Muhammad, Abu Jahal. Al-Amin, the honest one.
I present to you, both in Ishaq 365 and Tabari 7 verse 94, Muhammad bin Maslama said, "O messenger, we shall have to tell lies." "Say what you like," Muhammad replied. "You are absolved, free to say whatever you must." In the unlikely event that Muhammad was a famous truth-teller, That changed after Islam. I've already shown that this movie is deliberately deceptive. Lying is Islam's poster child. I'm sorry if my political incorrectness is offending anybody, but I would rather offend than deceive.
For 3 years, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, preached in secret. It was during this time, Siham, that I first heard his teachings.
I'm not sure we should be doing this.
You have to hear him, Mother.
We'll be all right, Jalila.
Inside, quickly. There's more tonight than ever before. Thank you, Jeff.
Where do you go every night?
To hear a prophet of God. What a feeling to learn the way of Islam from God's messenger. Peace and blessing be upon him.
And war and death
His
upon the
revelation,
rest of the world. I
Quran,
get it already.
offered the most beautiful words we had ever heard. He taught us all the gods of Mecca are powerless. There's only one God, the God of Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. And you have to surrender everything to him.
That you do, including your right to free speech and rational thought. By the way, I counted about 16 people in this room. If we're going off of Islam's typical teachings, after 3 solid years of preaching, this is about right. If we assume that no more get added in the next 7 years. But if we go off what we're about to hear, there should have been hundreds more.
There's no such thing as rich or slave in the eyes of God. All are equal. And the poor aren't to be put down and despised. They're to be cared for. The Quran says, in the name of God,
Allah,
the merciful, the compassionate, the most honored of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. Women aren't possessions. They're God's creations and just as important as any man. Respect them.
Okay, I originally planned to keep my mouth shut through these teachings and just let the movie go, but this is too much. This obvious, bold-faced lie that men and women are equal in Islam assumes our total ignorance and stupidity. Just one little question, Badar International. Are women allowed to drive in Muslim countries? Yeah, that's what I thought. Perhaps Tabari can help us understand why Muslim women are treated as they are. Tabari 1, 280. Allah said, "It is my obligation to make Eve bleed once every month as she made this tree bleed. I must also make Eve stupid, although I created her intelligent. Because Allah afflicted Eve, all the women of this world menstruate and are stupid." And while I can't find any verse in the Quran that even hints of equality between men and women, I do find stuff like this. Quran 4 verse 11. Allah directs you in regard of your children's inheritance. To the male, a portion equal to that of 2 females. These are settled portions ordained by Allah. I cannot believe George Bush and Barack Obama support this stuff. If there was any justice left in the world, this movie would be publicly disgraced along with Islam for lying so blatantly to our children. But chances are I'm going to get disciplined for this first, more likely for hate speech. Enjoy your truth while it lasts.
The earth is a gift from God.
Allah!
Treat it gently. You are its caretaker. And remember, you will all be judged according to your deeds. Many became Muslims that night. We showed our faith with a simple pledge.
There is no God but God, and Muhammad is his prophet.
This is one of Islam's biggest deceptions, claiming that Allah means God. But there's a word for God in Arabic, and it is illah, not Allah. This is why Muslims say, La ilaha illallah. Allah is simply this God's name. So why is this important enough for Muslims to lie about it? Because you've probably noticed that this God is claimed to be the God of biblical figures like Abraham and Jesus. But that God was never called Allah, and certainly never hated Jews like this one does. The real Allah came from the Kaaba, that building with the prayer blanket over it, and was an idol. He even had 3 daughters attributed to him, Alat, Manat, and Al-Uzza. Muhammad simply used Allah to say things with a God's level of authority. But after all the lying we've witnessed already, everything still coming is both suspect and uninspired by the true God. Maybe a demon, but not a God.
There is no God but God.
Allah!
And Muhammad is his prophet.
No God but Allah.
And Muhammad
Is his prophet. You won't believe it, Amal. He says all men are created equal in the sight of God. You have to take me to him.
I knew you would see the danger of Muhammad's preaching.
Of course I see it. He must be stopped.
You cannot stop Muhammad.
What?
Bilal, come back. You'll be whipped. They can whip my body, but not my soul. Fine, then leave your soul there, but get your body back here.
That's actually somewhat
What do you
funny.
know
Didn't think
about
you had it in you,
Muhammad?
movie.
I know he is a prophet.
Prophet? You see? It spreads like a disease.
The gods will punish you for those words, Bilal.
Muhammad says the idol gods are powerless.
Huh? Powerless. Powerless, he says. A slave says all the gods are powerless. Now, what do all of you say about Muhammad's harmless teachings?
Our nephew preaches against us, Abu Talib.
We also believe in an almighty God.
Well, yes, but we don't say all the rest are worthless.
What harm can be done by it? Those who listen to him are the poor and weak.
Not all. They have been joined by Abu Bakr. Oh yes, Muhammad's mighty friend has also deserted us.
He's only one man.
No! He is the first spark of a flame that must be extinguished.
I agree with the supposedly evil guy. Bakr would later write poetry about some of the things he did with the Prophet. Ishaq 281. When we called them to the truth, they turned their backs and howled like bitches. Allah's punishment on them will not tarry. I swear by the Lord of Camels that I am no perjurer. A valiant band will descend upon the Quraysh, which will leave women husbandless. It will leave men dead, with vultures wheeling round. It will not spare the infidels. Oh, and remember those Allah charity taxes I talked about at the beginning of this? Yeah, Abu Bakr was Islam's sheriff of Nottingham. Bukhari, Volume 9, Book 84, number 59. Abu Bakr said, "By Allah, I will fight whoever differentiates between prayers and the zakat tax, as the zakat is rightfully taken from property according to Allah's orders. If they refuse to pay me even so little as a kid they used to pay to Allah's apostle, I will fight them for withholding it." I'll bet you weren't counting on it being this bad, were you?